Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. Happy I Know Dope people. What's going on? This is your girl, Queen Aisha, and I am your host of I Know Dope People because I do. And I have a dope female as my guest today. Before we get started, we're going to go over and do a few Queen Aisha quickies. So the first thing I want to discuss is, the time is changing on tomorrow, Sunday. So they say we're going to gain an hour. I want to see how that's going to look in my 51 and almost 52 spirits. I need all the sleep I can get. It's getting better, but I need all my sleep. Tuesday, November 8th, let's run, not walk, everywhere to the polls and vote. It's very imperative that we vote. Voting is our power. Do your research. We just started being able to vote like yesterday. Okay, so let's go out and vote. Young people, please, please, please. Do your work, do your study, do your research. Let's go and vote. Make sure you have everything that you need when you go to the polls. We cannot give out sandwiches in a lot of places throughout the country. So make sure you bring your peanut butter and jelly and your water and whatever you need, your 40, whatever sits right in your spirit so you can go and vote. Don't care who you vote for, vote, because voting says, I see you, I hear you, and I agree or disagree with you. So let's get that done. So as I was getting ready this morning for the show, because it is a production. Okay. I was fighting with my contacts. Some days my contacts like me, some days they don't. And I had to put a pair in, neither the left or the right agreed. I had to take them out, start all over. But what we're not going to do, we're not wasting no contacts. That's what we're not doing. So what I did was I put them in my little travel case, put some little lubrication, because you need to lubricate your contacts, and set them to the side because we're not being wasteful, not in 2022, almost 23. Okay. Last night I went to karaoke. So you may have heard me talk about the comedy night that I'm starting on November 20th. It's going to be in Norcross, Georgia. I sound so country. Norcross, Georgia, at Zona's Caribbean Restaurant, Bar and Grill. So me and some of my cousins, Melissa, Beverly, and my new cousin, Tanya, she from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, crazy as hell. We had a good time at karaoke. We got up and decided to do SWV right here. We was pretty good at that as a drill team. It was four of us that we sound good. Then we said we was feeling bold. They had a few extra drinks in them. And it was like, Melissa was like, let's do another one. We need to do another one. That was fun. We went up and we decided to do Beyonce, You Won't Break My Soul. Beyonce and what's the original singer? Is this? I can't think of her name. Rob. I can't remember her name. Forgive me. I don't know. We might have broken both of their souls because we know the words, and I was in my spirit, in my African American body. I was feeling like I was a blonde, blonde hair, blue eyed female trying to find my beat back someplace in Jersey. Okay, but we had a really, really good time. Then I realized everybody else did karaoke like right on the level where everybody was sitting. We decided to take our country black asses up on stage. I was wondering why the DJ was kind of looking like, why y'all here? Then I said, oh, they were singing down here. No, we stage ready. We get on stages. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you. Happy Saturday. We are going to get started. Yes. So again, we have the dope one, the Vagina Whisperer, LaShun Teboh. She is the owner of Woman Ankh Healing Center in Riverdale, Georgia. We actually met through a mutual friend, Natasha Jackson, when I moved to Atlanta. And I was like, I need to get my vagina steamed. Yoni steams, like I say it like funny, but Yoni steams are very, very spiritual for me because it's not about just because people like you, if you watch reality shows or watch them or go to like the different spas, they'll call them V steams, vaginal steams. And I don't knock anyone who gets those, but I prefer to go to a place for me that is more sacred because it's healing. You're releasing toxins, you're releasing things, thoughts, actions that don't serve you, may have never served you. So I go to a sacred space where I feel that I can trust the person that is facilitating me and walking me through and guiding me through. So when I go to the Woman Ankh Healing Center in Riverdale, it's my time. It's me time. It's me and me. That's it. Me, a pen, some music, tears if that's what comes up, the pot, and LaShun is walking me through what to do and guiding me through, and I'm just having my me time to release. So LaShun is going to speak with us about the power of Yoni steaming, vaginal steaming, and the healing benefits, um, why we should do it, why you should have it administered by someone that knows what they're doing. You do have some that do it at home. I do it at home sometime as well, but you have to know what you're doing and know what products to use and what herbs to use and why you're using those things. So LaShun, she wears many hats. LaShun has a lot going on. She got skills. Let me find out. LaShun is a comedic Reiki practitioner, and she's a certified life coach who specializes in weight management. LaShun is also certified in fibroid release. She is a fibroid release specialist. LaShun came on. She's like, let me come in here, Queen, and tell you what's going on. Good morning, LaShun. Teboh, thank you so much.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. She's in between, like she's on the show in between going to facilitate and love and nurture on some women this morning on Saturday. Welcome, LaShun. Thank you so much for saying yes.
I couldn't say no to you, though.
So you know how we rock. And it's, I met LaShun through Natasha in 2018, 19, when I first came to Atlanta. And I reached out to her, I called her on the phone, and she immediately responded by text. And she was texting with me. And I was like, well, she texted. I was like, it's about it. We always joke about it. I said, it's about an energy exchange. She ain't gonna be talking to my vagina and treating my vagina, and I ain't talk to her. I need to feel her vibe and her energy. And then Natasha called her for me, and we communicated. But what I understood is, because she's doing a lot of spiritual work, it's very important that she protects herself. You know what I'm saying? So she need to know who coming in, who for real. You know what I'm saying? And who has an understanding, and then we move forward. So I go to LaShun. Not only is I'm her client, but we've built a relationship where we sit and we have for real, honest, personal conversations during the process, after the process, before the process. And LaShun just celebrated her 50th birthday party.
Yes.
And let me tell you something, honey. If we wasn't outside, LaShun party originally made it official for me in my spirit to be in alignment, to know we outside. It was so beautiful. It was so community. The women that were there, it was no hating. You didn't feel that energy. And to top it off, the DJ, let me tell y'all something. The DJ, and see, I was hired to work. I think she would have invited me anyway, but I did the comedy, and she had a poet there as well. And I stayed focused. I did my set, and then I partied. Let me tell you something. The food was the bomb. The drinks, I don't drink, but I watch people. That was good. The DJ was on point. When I tell you the classic reggae and R&B, let me tell you something. You set it off. Well, thank you, LaShun. Thank you. So please tell us about the Woman Ankh Healing Center in Riverdale, Georgia.
Okay, so you actually said some things, how I get started with clients. I need to know where you're at, whether you're coming in just to get a V-steam, or whether you want to come in and get a Yoni steam, because that's the difference for me. Because if you're coming in just to get a V-steam, what you get is you get to go into a nice room with some nice music, and you get to relax and you get to enjoy yourself. But if you're coming in for a Yoni steam, Yoni is the Sanskrit word for the whole reproductive system of the woman. And that takes on a different energy, because then I start thinking about your sacral energy, that sacral chakra. That's where your Yoni sits at, in that region. So then it's time to do some healing work. And that's where I think some women miss when it comes to Yoni steaming, is the healing aspect of it. Your womb, it's not only your womb, it carries the DNA of your mother, your grandmothers, and all your foremothers before you. So sometimes when you're dealing with things in this lifetime, it might not necessarily be yours. So through Yoni steaming and working with that sacral energy, we can start to bring some of those things forward so that you can heal yourself and your lineage. And the way that I do that, depending on the person, can depend on the herbs that you get. especially once I sit down and I start to get to know someone. You might not get the same herbs every time you come in. It just all depends on what work we're working on. But once I know you and I know who you are and I know the different things that's going on with you, I start to customize those herbs for you. And also in those sessions, I do meditations. And since I've worked with you, Queen, that meditation has gotten even deeper to the point that at the end of it, women are in tears. And I'm like, okay, well, what happened? What but those meditations are meant to go down within your womb space and to bring that energy up so that you can sit down and, well, you're already sitting, but then you can sit and you can actually start to release the people, the toxic people, the places, the things, the limiting ideas, the situations that you've dealt with, those things that you've tried to push to the back and not deal with them. And so you can bring them forward and actually start experiencing the emotions. Because I've had a conversation with one of my friends not too long ago. And I said, remember when you was young and, you would get your heart broken and everything, and then you start listening to all these love songs and you'd be crying and staying up all night and wake up with all these puffy eyes and everything. And I said, it's been a long time since I did that. So that meant that I was stuffing those emotions down and I wasn't releasing them any longer. So with bringing that forward for myself. That happened in one of my own Yoni steam sessions because I do my own Yoni steams the same way I do, for women. And I brought that forward for myself. And I had to actually release that and give myself permission to start feeling those emotions when maybe a relationship don't work out or, maybe I had high expectations of it and release those things. So that's what Yoni steaming at Woman of Ankh Healing Center is all about. It's about you coming, you're in this space, but we want to get you in a more desirable space. And in that space is where healing happens. And something else I want to explain to women as well about Yoni steaming. One Yoni steam ain't gonna do it. One Yoni steam ain't gonna do it. Everybody, you think, okay, like I do the fibroids release program, okay? They think that just doing the Yoni steam is going to help them to release the Yoni steams. It's not. It's one of the tools that I use. I do the womb massage, the womb wrapping, and then once I get them on the pot, then we go into some meditation as well to help them to start moving that energy that's going to assist in helping to reduce the size of those fibroids.
It's a process.
It's a process. So that's what I would hope for women to do, is to start looking at Yoni steaming as a healing tool and not as just something that, they feel like it's
a fad.
Yeah, it's a fad.
It's the thing.
It's the thing to do, but it is really a healing tool that can assist you in walking into a higher version of yourself to release those things, that energy that's attached to you. And sometimes we just really don't know it's there. Yes, like even when women come in, they want to do something with weight management. I still want to get them on the pot because your weight is not always physical. It's
the core.
Yeah, that's the physical representation of what's going on in your spiritual body. So let's see exactly what it is. Who's attached to you? Because that might be the weight. It might be a person. The different energy that you're holding on to in respect to the different things that have happened in your life. I can't say that enough. We have to start facing who we've been in the past so we can become the higher version of ourselves.
You better talk this morning, LaShun. You better tell them. That is so imperative because, with the Yoni steam, like I'll go to the spas in the area where I live and it's a thing, and I'm not knocking it, but I just feel like it's a sacred space for me. And when I go, LaShun has the room, I call it the Yoni suite. It's so beautiful and peaceful and light. You can just it's gorgeous, y'all. You put on the silk gown and you sit and you separate all your goodness to make sure the steam hit right where it need to hit at. And speaking of the herbs that you talked about, I've had the herbs where I was very emotional, and I've had the herbs where I was very stimulated. You understand? You know, sexually stimulated. Where I was like, oh, I gotta go do me. You
That's
know what
that
I'm saying?
Damiana, baby. That's that
Yeah,
Damiana.
let me tell you something. Donnie Yama in them. Let me explain something to you. And then don't let her give you that Yoni tea. That Yoni tea, when you steaming your Yoni, they communicate and they talking. And here's the thing: I'm gonna meet some people where they are. With the Yoni steam, it helps to get the blood circulating. Like whatever's dormant in your body, energy and all that stuff what LaShun spoke about, it wakes all of that up. So if you have a Yoni steam and then you have a partner and you are intimate, let me explain something to you. That blood circulating is gonna be percolating. It's gonna be percolating. You're like, you understand? So yeah, so and even with that being said, because you are open, your energy is open, you have to be very careful with who you're connecting with, because you're healing, but you're vulnerable also because you open up more. And LaShun, can you speak to that?
You're absolutely correct in that respect. One of the things that happens, let's just say someone comes in for a healing session with me, they'll leave feeling amazing. And I know how they feel because I've been in that situation in that place as well. So I already know what happens, especially after your first session when you've released and you're feeling real light. You know,
Your
you feeling
dreams is popping and everything.
yeah, everything is like going really good. And let's just say for about a week you're on cloud 9. But see, when you release something gonna pop back up in your life to try to put you back where you were at. And sometimes you can get you can kind of flow back into it, especially if you haven't been on your healing journey for a while. And like you just said, you're very open. You've started releasing those energies that's within you. You started stirring those things up. But there's I don't, for lack of a better way to describe it, there's those
Say it.
there's these forces in the world that want to keep you down, that wants to keep you low vibrational. So somebody gonna pop up. One of the a good way to explain this, I do something called detox your ex Yoni steams, and that's all about digging in and pulling up those energies from past lovers that you might have had. And sure enough, as soon as that person goes back and into their life and they start feeling really good, they start getting phone calls, emails,
Block that ass immediately. You heard me?
exactly.
As soon as it comes, don't even block.
It.
Delete.
Don't even answer it, because that's what it's to bring your vibration back down. I would love to keep having the feeling of being on 10, but there's these forces in the world that's always going to try to bring you back down. So that's something you have to be very conscious of. So when you start your healing sessions and you're in your healing sessions, just know that after you're done, someone is going to try to come back and bring you back to where you were at. You have to fight to be the higher version of yourself. And
say that again.
Yeah, you have to fight and you have to want it. But because it's easy to stay low vibrational, but to always be on 10, that's a whole nother energy. That's a whole nother level. But you got to remember, once you get on 10, then you start attracting the other people that are on 10. You start being able to commune with them. You start being able to be in their element, to be on their vibration. And then that changes your life as well. So you got to remember that we can stay down here, or we can, start to, and we can all do that. Some people think that being spiritually enlightened is just for like the gurus and different things. No, it's for because we're all spiritual beings. All of us.
Because I'm hood like hell, but I'm spiritual. I'm like, I'm a spiritual gangster.
Exactly.
Religious person.
Exactly. But that's exactly it. We're all spiritual, and we can all vibrate on a higher
if we choose to.
If we choose to.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, you made a very valid point, because you said people start coming into your life, but also we talk about like our old selves and our new self. Sometimes I check in with myself. I'd be like, I don't know where that came from, but that's the old you, because the little girl in you wants to come and take control. And I speak to my inner child. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, oh, I got this. This may be fearful for you. Probably remember. So those is so many things that goes into the healing process. And I think that with the Yoni steaming, because we have trauma, it's so many different things that we experience in life, and we hold it. Like fibroids are huge in the African American women in the community of African American women, and that's because we're holding so much trauma and fear. And it's so great that you brought up that it's not just our stuff; it's the stuff from our moms, grandmothers, and all of that. So that is very powerful, because I'm sure a lot of people, they never thought about that. Like, I'm holding on to somebody else's stuff and it doesn't even belong to me. Yes. And sometimes that's why we don't know what to do with it. So you have someone like LaShun that comes in and guides you through. She may not know exactly what it is, but she knows generally what it is and how we're going to, what the process is to get through it.
How we can bring it forward. Yes. Someone had a question, Curvy Queen. She wanted to know, is Yoni steaming beneficial for women who have had a hysterectomy? And it is absolutely, it's absolutely beneficial to women who have had a hysterectomy. And this is how I like to explain it. We have a physical body and we have a spiritual body. When they remove the womb, they're removing it physically, but they're not removing it energetically. Energetically, you still have the energy of your womb. When I talk to women who have had hysterectomies, a lot of times that time of the month when they would usually get their cycles, they still go through the bloating, they still go through the different
having a snack.
Yeah.
I had a flashback.
Yeah, they still go through all those things because that's the energy of your womb. So yes, it is still very beneficial. And when you're sitting on the pot, especially when you're sitting there going through different meditations and everything, the energy of your womb is what's going to be bringing those things forward to you, that out of that sacral DNA. So yes, it is very beneficial, and I always recommend it for women with history. Oh, someone says, what about
Beverly? Yes, that's my cousin. I was about to ask the same thing, because that thing right there, LaShun, I don't eat chicken, but if I eat chicken, I can go 7-8 months, won't have a cycle. But a piece of chicken, that hormone
in the chicken,
do something to my spirit. Yep.
You bring your cycle on.
Yep.
Yes, it is beneficial with women who are perimenopausal and menopausal. I actually have a steam. It's called the Wise Woman. The Wise Woman steam was created for those that are going through those situations. It was created because I was having my own situations.
Okay, share your situation and just spread it through the world.
Well, the main situation that I was having, I started having the hot flashes and those types of things. And I'm like, well, what the hell? And and I was like, I thought a hot flash was a flash. I didn't think it was going to last a period of time.
Right.
So what I did was I'm a naturalista. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to always see what herbs are beneficial. So I started looking up herbs that was going to assist with the Yoni steam. And I created the Wise Woman Yoni steam. And it has Damiana in there for the women that are having issues with their sexual libido. It has it's called Shatavari root that assists with the vaginal lubrication. It has I'm just thinking off the top of then it has like rosemary, calendula. Those help with your pH balance and helping to keep everything kind of right and moist in there. Then there's the raspberry, the red raspberry, because that assists with the womb itself. And then there's some other herbs and roots in there that just overall is going to assist you with balancing out those hormones, increasing your vaginal lubrication, increasing your sexual libido, and combine that with the Yoni tea. It's going to just keep you, it's going to keep you right. It's going to keep it to where you can have all your juices still flowing. The sweet Yoni tea is very delicious, like Queen has said. And the lady who makes it, I don't make it. I serve it during my Yoni steam sessions, and I do have it where you can purchase it, but you drink it for, let's just say over a 3 to 4 day period, and it'll make you taste good, if you know what I mean.
Beverly, tell Tanya that. It'll make you taste good.
It'll make you taste good. Yeah, I have people, knocking at my door for it. I'm looking over here to see about the questions because I don't want to miss anything. Someone wanted to know, how do you determine
Excuse
which
me.
herbs are good for a person, for a woman? So I have some pre-made steams. I have one for fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, the wise woman, and then I have one that's just an overall Yoni steam blend. But let's just say if I sit down and I'm having conversation with you and you tell me that you have certain issues going on, what I do is I do a little research and I'll make a specific blend just for you. I make custom blends. I even make blends for women who have reoccurring yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis that works really good. And this
Mm-hmm.
goes back to one steam ain't gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
They have to commit to a series of steams when we're working on that type of a situation.
Mm-hmm. So,
So
LaShun, tell us how you got started. Who is LaShun Teboh? Tell us about LaShun and how you got started on this journey. Because I think it's a very noble journey. Like you were saying, like when you were going through your flashes, you're like, I'm healing people. I got to take care of me too. Not that you don't take care of yourself, but what led you to say, I need to be an advocate for women in their wombs?
so what happened was
What had happened was.
a client came in one day and she said, "Hey, do you do V steams?" And I said, "Well, what's a V steam?" This was maybe about 6 years ago. And I
Mhm,
said, "Well, what's a V steam?" And she said, when you sit over these herbs, she was like trying to explain it to me. She had went to Jeju. So what
mhm,
I did was I went online and I started researching what
mhm,
was a V steam. And I said, "Oh, I said I can do this because I'm real handy with the herbs." And so I was like, I started creating Yoni steam blends right from the beginning. I set up a makeshift pot and everything. I didn't even have anything professionally built at that time, but I
mhm,
started doing Yoni steams about maybe a year after I started doing Yoni steams. The owner of Love My Womb Academy actually came to my office for some services, and she started explaining to me that she had an academy and she taught V steams. So I said, I know how to do that. I'm already doing them and everything, right? And she said, okay. She said, but it's good to have a certification and different things like that. I said, okay. So I thought about it for like a year, but then I
mhm,
finally went to her academy. But when I went to her academy, what I learned about was the healing aspect of Yoni steaming.
mm,
That's what I learned at Love My Womb Academy. Yes, I knew how to do the physical part of Yoni steaming, but tapping into
mm,
that spiritual energy, being able to sit there with that woman to assist her on her healing journey is what I
mm,
learned there. And that's been
mhm,
a very valuable lesson over the past, 6, 7 years that I've been doing Yoni
mhm,
steaming. It gave me a whole new perspective on it. And
mhm,
then this is something else that I learned too. I actually have students now, and I teach them from my experiences with women and the different things that I've been through.
mhm,
Working with my students, they have to be on their own healing journey to
mhm.
be a practitioner under my name.
Yes.
And the reason why they have to be on their own healing journey, I help them start the
Mhm,
navigation of it, is because you can't take someone on a journey that you haven't been on.
mhm,
And a lot of Yoni steam practitioners out there are just doing steams. They're not they're not handling their own issues. So this
mhm.
and
And they
every
transferring that energy to you
that's what I
because they
was
haven't done their work, girl.
yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say, because they haven't did their own work. They're transferring that energy into those herbs, because when I do those herbs, I'm infusing my energy in those herbs. I'm
Mhm,
putting my hands I'm praying over your womb
mhm,
when I put my hands in those
mhm,
in those herbs. So
mhm,
just think, if I'm not working on myself, clearing my
mhm,
energy, that's what I'm transferring to you. If on
mhm,
a day that a person is supposed to come to me for a womb massage, if I
mhm,
don't feel good,
mhm,
I will cancel their appointment. It would be
mhm,
spiritually irresponsible of me to
mm,
touch them when I know I
mhm,
don't feel good, when I know
mm.
there's something going on with me. So I get very passionate about that.
Yeah, that's very,
So
yes, and it's very, very
very
responsible of
passionate,
you as well.
very.
And I'm gonna talk to them about the process. Like when I the first time I came, I did the ionic foot detox, which I'm gonna let LaShawn explain that to you. I was like, I've heard about it. I was like, oh, this is deep. You see everything that's going on in your body, your yeast, your mucus, everything. You be like, you ate that, and that was the potato chips, and that was a piece of chicken. You can see all of it is coming, is pulling them out your feet. And then I would go to and do the Yoni steam. So the first time I went, LaShun gave me a piece of paper and a pen, and she said, write down your fears, people, places, and things. And I was like, huh? Now I'll write. Honey, LaShun had to bring me more paper. I start writing on the back and the front. And then the process, like if the vaginal steaming, Yoni steaming isn't enough, that you get to release, you're writing these things down. And LaShun takes you through the process of burning and how you turn. It's just so inspirational and so important. It's like every step you're doing is for a purpose. It's for a reason, to protect yourself, to release it. Turn the paper with all of these things, and she out putting it out the window to put the energy out into the universe that you're releasing it. And then she'll say to you, she's like, "Oh, that burned real fast. You wanted to release that really quickly. You was like on point, like I'm done." And then LaShun explain what you do to release and what you replace it with, and it explained the importance of replacing it, because that's so important in our daily lives. When you stop smoking, you have to replace it. All of those things. Please explain that.
So the release ceremonies, how they came about, I had went to a retreat or something like that. I can't remember, but they had this really big thing to where, they would say, write down. They didn't give instruction. They was like, write down the things that you want to release is basically what they said.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote down some things and you just put it into the fire. And that was basically it. But when I came from that retreat, I said, okay, well, how can I integrate this into Yoni steaming?
Mm-hmm.
And see, you started when I first started, because you said you was at the window, but that was cute at the window because it was
but now, my gosh.
So I said, how can I put this in? How can I put this into the Yoni steaming session? So that's how it came about. I would have the client to sit down and give them some instruction on what to write. And I tell them, hey, it doesn't have to be from today. It could be 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it is. And I always say, I'm not going to read it, because it's not anything that I want to read, because then I want them to be able to express themselves and be able to, get everything out. And I'll leave some tissue there just in case if they have some tears that's going to come about. Then I come back and then I give them instructions on how to fold their paper. I give them parchment paper. Whenever you're petitioning the universe, you use parchment paper. So I give them the parchment paper and I tell them how to fold it. They're going to fold that energy away from them. And they fold it up. And then I set a little fire with some sage in there because, sage clears out the negative energy.
I'll be saging myself at home. Go ahead.
Yes.
I need to get it together sometime. Right?
Exactly.
Everywhere over my body, for real.
Exactly. So yes, so we put that in there, but I also give them bay leaves. Bay leaves is what you write down your manifestation on. So when you're doing the burn, it's like saying to God, saying to the universe, take these things from me, but replace them with these things. You want to bring yourself back into balance. So then I'll set the fire. When Queen did it, I had it out on the little ledge. And what was always amazing, I would always want to wait for the smoke, because it would be real interesting how that smoke would like swirl around and then just shoot off or something like that. It would, it would actually be magical.
Yes.
But that was their intentions going into the universe. Now I do a real big pot that I do burns. And once that pot gets about halfway full, I actually take it to a moving body of water and dispose of and release them into the universe there. So that's just another way that the intentions are being set into the universe. It's very magical and it's very lightning, because when I'm standing there, I usually take pictures of them while they're doing their release. You can actually see the transition of their expressions as they're doing the release. I get satisfaction out of seeing it. They get satisfaction out of actually doing it. So
yes, and it's that right there, like out on the balcony. The window was amazing, and now the balcony with the big pot, one of them big pots that our ancestors used. The cast iron. If you ain't got a sidebar, if you don't have cast iron in your house, you can't cook anyway. I'm just saying. but it's a big cast iron pot, and you could just see the smoke, and you're in your gown. It's so beautiful. If you go to any of LaShun's social media, you'll see actual ceremonies of it happening in video. So I thought that that was so important. Can you explain why you choose the bay leaf to replace and balance?
Well, all herbs have a physical property and then they have a spiritual property. And one of the spiritual properties of bay leaves is manifestation. So,
Hmm.
and yeah, and whenever you write manifestation and abundance as well.
Mm.
So, like if you're doing like money magic or something like that, bay
Hmm.
leaves is something that you will want to use. But when you write something, writing something is like writing a spell. It's
Mm.
writing a spell. It's writing your intention. And so what you're writing it on that bay leaf and the intention, putting it into the universe. So, but that's the reason why I use the bay leaves because of their spiritual property of abundance and just being magical.
Okay, and
So,
we have another question,
okay.
Beverly.
What steam helps with weight loss? None of them. None of them. And if someone is telling you that there's a steam that helps with weight loss, they're not telling you the truth. When clients come in for weight, I call it weight release. The
Hmm.
first thing I have them to do is do three things. And these three things work across the board. The first thing is increase your water intake. Most people are not drinking enough water so your body can flush out toxins. Number two, increase your green leafy vegetables. Most people are not eating green leafy vegetables. And number three, increase your exercise. And that could be as simple as walking.
Or
And for
having sex.
or having sex burns calories as well. And let's just say if you're having mobility issues, you can always do chair exercises. You can always,
Hmm.
do the water aerobics. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So anytime, that's how I usually start clients off with just increasing those three things.
That's
And
important.
yeah,
And those are
yeah,
simple things too that
simple
we
things to do.
miss every day. Very
Yeah.
good point.
And notice I didn't say don't eat this, don't eat that. What you're gonna do is rearrange your plate, is what you're gonna
Hmm.
do. I had a lady who lost 55 pounds just doing that, just
Mm.
doing those three things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very important energy and
Yeah.
that information. And we have another question here.
You live in another state. Can you recommend these services? Um, if you're in another state, you can always research to see who's in your area that does yoni steaming. And I would say go interview them, see what their processes are. See, do they do healing work or are they just doing V steams?
Hmm.
But I have an academy. It's called Ankh Academy of Holistic Healing. And I'm currently training women to do the services as I do them. They'll make them their own, but their foundation, their core is going to be what I do. So be on the lookout. They're going to be popping up everywhere around the United States very, very soon. Right now, I have them in New York, New Jersey, Philly, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida.
All right, LaShun, get them vaginas together.
Yeah. So
We need
yeah,
to have a vagina march, a vagina percolating march.
yeah. So beyond. So when you hear "woman of Ankh practitioner," know that she has been highly trained and she is working on herself continually because she's under my name, and I take
Her
that very
tutelage.
seriously.
That's
Yeah.
right. So, Woman of Ankh Healing Center.
Yes.
You see, I have on my Ankh earrings in honor of LaShun. Look.
I
LaShun came on with her white. I said, I'm going to put on some white too. Explain the importance of white and then give the definition of Ankh, please.
Okay. Well, I like white because I feel like I look good in it.
Damn.
But white, no, white is a representation of purity. In my sessions, when I do sessions with my clients, I actually wear white. I wear white scrubs. But it's purity. It's got to
Mhm.
do with that innocence. So that's why I wear the white. The Ankh. So as you notice, like the name of my business is Woman of Ankh Healing Center, Ankh Academy of Holistic Healing. The Ankh is a representation of life. You have the womb, the fallopian tubes, and then you have the reciprocal, the vagina or the reciprocal for the male phallus. And once you combine all of those elements together, it's actually eternal life because
Mhm.
when a man and a woman comes together, they're going to produce an offspring and they're going to keep their lineage going. So essentially, woman of Ankh is woman of life.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I want to convey to women, that you can have a life for real, for real.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I'm 50 years old now, and what I hear from a lot of women, they've raised their children, they've had husbands, but they lost themselves. They don't have their life. They lived a life,
Mhm.
their life through other people. So now they feel lost and kind of disjointed. So
Mhm.
that's what a lot of the healing sessions are about, the releasing is about, is so that they can find themselves and live
Mhm.
the life they want. I always try to get them to go back to when you were a little girl. What did you
Mhm.
want to be? What did you want to do?
Mhm.
It's never too late. It's never too late
Mhm.
to do those things. So, Woman of Ankh is all about life. It's all about your life. So,
Thank you, thank you. And here's the thing: we are always evolving. We're always
always,
having experiences, having new chapters and transitions. So we're always going to be having to release, change, adjust.
always.
So I think that the Yoni steam is a huge part of our healing. So some people are like, oh, I don't need to do this no more. I'm good now.
Mm-mm.
Like LaShun said earlier, things show back up, and then you move into another area of your life. It can be something with work, it can be something with finances. We should always be, and we're in a society where we're always moving. It's a lot going on, a lot of media. We hold stuff, so we have to be present at the same time with taking care of ourselves. And I just thought that discussing the yoni health and the full body connection is so imperative. And LaShawn, you spoke to it a little earlier, but just the connection of the yoni and the whole body, how it all comes together and will keep you in balance or not.
It will keep you in balance. You gotta okay, no, your womb is your center.
Hmm.
When you're I don't want to say, when things are just not going right with your womb space, when you have the fibroids or you have bad cycles and different things like that, that's your body's way of speaking to you. That's just the physical representation of what's going on in your body spiritually. So balancing that energy within your womb space can
Hmm.
assist you with bringing everything else together as well.
Hmm.
Whenever your womb is out of alignment, it messes with other things within your body as well. When you
Hmm.
was just talking a second ago, especially about healing and releasing.
Hmm.
So our womb holds a lot of energy from our matriarchal lineage.
Hmm.
Let's just say if we're not dealing with those things and they just keep reappearing, something like fibroids, that's like one
Hmm.
of the main things or one of the main
Hmm.
issues that I deal
Hmm.
with women. There is something that happened in that lineage, um,
Hmm.
that will come up, and it usually
Hmm.
does come up as we go through those sessions.
Hmm.
But also, when the womb is out of alignment, more than likely the heart is out of alignment as well. That
Hmm.
woman is probably dealing with some things that's going on, like as far as blood pressure, maybe even high cholesterol, because there's a connection with those two chakras.
Hmm.
So, and of course, if your heart is out of alignment, that's going to also have some. You're going to probably also have some issues just in your chest area. Period. But once you start bringing in that one, I like to call it sacred space. Once you
Hmm.
start bringing your sacred space into alignment, everything else can start to come into balance as well.
Hmm.
And one of the things I'm a firm believer in is manifestation. And I believe manifestation comes from your sacral energy, from your womb energy.
Hmm.
And how I came to that point, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, because women don't like their cycles, right? I got to a point to where I actually loved my cycle. We
Hmm.
don't like our cycles because through history, through the patriarchal system, we've been taught that it's nasty, that, all those
Hmm.
different things. But what I learned when I was having my cycle, I was psychic. I could see things. I could see the future. I could see those things that, my ancestors was trying to tell me, that, the universe was trying to bring to me. That's how Woman of Ankh Healing Center came about. That's how Ankh
Hmm.
Academy of Healing came about. when I would ask these questions during my cycle, I would get the answers.
Mhm.
So once you start getting answers, you're able to better navigate in your life as well. So that's not the question you asked me, but that's what
But
started from.
that's fine. But you know what? Yes,
So,
but you know what? You just gave some really imperative information, and the whole thing with the cycle, because I used to have really, 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 really horrible cycles, right? And then things in my life started shifting. The marriage was dissolved. All of these things, and it changed, of course, life and getting older. But I would say when my cycle comes on now, I'll joke about, oh, I ate chicken. I know that when my cycle comes on now, I am grateful because I know that my body is protecting me. I know
yes,
that what I have going on in my life, whether it is something that I ate or something that I experienced, that my body is releasing it to help me, to protect me. So that's when I do, that's how I look at it. Now I'm like, okay, something happened. And I'm telling you, just with age, the things that we eat and doing our body, my body responds so quickly. I'll be like, this don't feel right. So when my cycle comes, I welcome, I'll be like, yes. And talking about cycles, after you do your Yoni steam, hold on. LaShun give you this, she gives you this line. And let me explain something. So we out last night at karaoke, and I'm yelling across the table and talking to them about my experience, right? And I said, girl, you get this panty liner and it got like lavender and peppermint, and your vagina just be singing. It'd be like, ooh.
yes.
And it's and the reason you're getting a liner is because your body, you can release. You don't have to, but you may release. And LaShun, you can explain that to the audience, and also why the 24-hour period before being intimate and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, the reason for the panty liner is just like Queen said, there's a possibility to have a discharge. And the reason why you might have the discharge is it depends heavily on what happened during your session, what you
Mm-hmm.
talked about, what you wrote down. And then that's just your womb's way of
Mm-hmm.
releasing energy in a physical sense. So that's why I give the panty liner. But because those
Woo!
pores are all open and you get that panty liner with those herbs in it and everything,
Yes.
it's another level of feeling good. It's just another level of feeling good.
LaShun ain't tell me. I was like, why is my vagina whistling? Like,
Yeah, it feels really good. And the
yeah.
reason why you don't want to have sex 24 hours after you have the yoni steam, it's just really give your vagina time to settle and kind of take in everything that happened. Excuse me. Kind of take in everything. Let the herbs assimilate is basically what you're doing at that point. But do women listen? No. No, they don't. They go home and have sex because it feels good and amazing at that point in time. Some of the stories that I've heard.
Yeah, because the first time I had my the Yoni steam, I had it back in Maryland, and I was still in my marriage, and it was an experience to say the least.
Yeah.
And I didn't, because I didn't know about the 24 hours. And I just want to say, Micheline, she's in Maryland, and she asked about looking into someone. Tame Tama was supposed to be on today. She's in Maryland in East Riverdale. She actually was she's feeling under the weather, so she wasn't able to come on. So if you look up the womb sauna in the DC area, that's who I first had my Yoni steam from. So you can check her out, and she'll be able to assist you. In the Atlanta, Georgia area, you have LaShun, and she is in Riverdale on the south side.
On the
Is that
south
80?
side,
Is it 85 all the way down to 75? It's 85, right?
85. Yeah, Highway 85. I'm near Fayetteville. I'm more on the
Yes.
Fayetteville end of
Yeah,
things.
there you go. Yeah, so you can go, and I'm telling you, wherever you go, if it is sacred, and this is what they focus on, and this is what their purpose is, to heal the womb, your experience is going to be wonderful. Keep in mind what LaShun said. You want to make sure that they, excuse me, that they're doing their spiritual work. That is just so important in anything. When you're going to somebody, you're being vulnerable. You understand? So you have to make sure these people are doing their work. Because you have some people, we don't have the experience. They nice, nasty. They spiritual, but they nasty and ratchet as hell. And you be like, you ain't got to touch my hair, none of that. So just make sure that you really do yourself that service and do your work. And
And
LaShun,
just
you do.
ask them. Yeah, and just ask them. Be like, well, do you
Are
do?
you healed? Are you healed?
You know, just ask them. Well, what do you do for yourself spiritually? And
That's right.
they should be able to tell you. They should be able to rattle it off. What do they do as far as their spirituality is concerned? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important because at one time I was doing Yoni steams, but I didn't have the knowledge of how to do the spiritual side of things. And that was
Mm-hmm.
something that I learned later on. And I became spiritually responsible because I
Mm-hmm.
don't just do V steams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a practitioner. So
Okay, a practice, a
I'm a
capital
practitioner.
P. And men that are watching, and ladies, the penis can be steamed too. It's not
Yes,
a yoni
lingam
steam.
steam. It's
Is
a
it a
lingam.
penal? What
It's
is it called?
it's called a lingam steam, and
A lingam. The
lingam
lingam that steam.
is the Sanskrit word for a pillar of light.
Okay.
Pillar of light. But the herbs that are in that steam is for prostate health. So I
Mm-hmm.
have different size yoni chairs with different holes on them. So the one that I put gentlemen on has a bigger opening, and because we really want to engage the anal region at that time. Plus there's scrotum and all, everything, all the goods
We
is
need
in
all
there.
that up in there.
All of it's up in there. But their steams are milder, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
The pot is on low. It's on
Mm-hmm.
very low because if it's a man of childbearing ages and he wants to still have children, it can actually kill the sperm. Kill it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to be very careful. So if you're taking your husband somewhere and y'all are trying to have children, make sure they know what they're doing as far as that is concerned.
Yes, ma'am. And you offer services for couples, right? You do a
I
couples
do.
team.
I do a
Yes.
couple steam. And with the couple steam, I do a release ceremony as well. I have you guys
Mm,
writing together and doing a release, and I give some instruction on how y'all can release some things together. So that
mm,
way your relationship can have more balance in it. And then I take you out as a couple and do a
mm.
release ceremony.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then LaShun, you have this beautiful artwork behind you, and you
Oh
have your paint and sips where they do explain that. And
yeah.
then you do private events as well.
I do private events, and on a regular basis, I'll just host them and anyone can attend those. And what we usually do, we start out in the I call it the LaShun room. We
Mm-hmm.
start out in that room where we have snacks, we listen to music, and we do the painting. And this is one of the pieces the ones
Mm-hmm. With the
behind me are
lotus.
the
Mm-hmm.
pieces that you can choose. They're already pre-drawn, so all you're doing is like really
Mm,
coloring them in. But in the what that session is all about is about you communing with the other women, having the sisterhood gathering as one. And during that time, we also do a meditation at that time to go into
mm-hmm.
the Yoni steam room where you're doing a group Yoni steam. And something I like to explain about that, sometimes I think women think that I don't they're not gonna have privacy or people are gonna
Mm-hmm.
be looking at them like when you go to
Mm-hmm.
J2. It's
Mm-hmm.
nothing like that. It's
I'm not
very
I'm not sharing vagina juice. Go ahead. And Sean
yeah,
never put you in a room with people you ain't come with, just so you
yeah,
know.
exactly. Oh, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. If you didn't come with someone, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be in that room by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is something sacred. It is something spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to mingle with someone else's energy. But when
Mm-hmm.
I do the group retreats, the group small group retreats, I sage everybody first.
Mm-hmm.
We have time to sit down and start to release and start writing
Mm-hmm.
everything on the paper. Then
Mm-hmm.
when we go into the Yoni steam room as a group, we do a group meditation. I do the singing bowls. You might do some more writing and releasing, and then as a group, we go out one by one and start to do our burns. The reason
Mm-hmm.
why I like to do the group sessions because when we come together as a collective, we have more energy and we have more
Mm-hmm.
power to get
Mm-hmm.
our petitions into the universe to get
Mm-hmm.
we have that backing. So I love to do the group sessions.
That is
Absolutely love it.
beautiful. Yeah, and then LaShawn, we have a video testimony.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to show a video testimony. Check this
Um,
out.
okay. Okay. And ooh, uh-oh.
Express themselves that well. But she encouraged me to do it. And it was during a hard time because I just lost my mom. And so I needed to release some of that
I
hurt.
don't know
I
what
needed
this
to
is
release
on.
some of that anger. And it did it for me. I mean, I'm still in the process, but the release to get rid of some of that negative feeling, energy, and to receive some healing and some love and self-love. And it really was amazing. But the release to get rid of some of that negative feeling, energy, and to receive some healing and some love and self-love. And it really was amazing.
I don't even know if it showed correctly or not.
we saw video and we heard we got the just we saw the burning bowl that we talked about and all of that stuff, and her talking about her healing technology. It did what it needed to do. So thank you. So LaShun, what would you close with? What advice would you offer to women that are ready to go on their overall healing journey and starting with their with healing through the Yoni?
The first thing is to find a practitioner and interview her, and just make sure that she's taking care of herself. I think that's the most important thing. And be ready to commit to yourself, because like I said, it takes more than just one time. You know, after the first time, you can leave feeling lighter and feeling better. But if you're in the beginning stages of your healing journey, the weight is going to come back. The energy is going to come back. You have to fight to be a higher version of yourself. So the biggest thing is be ready to commit to yourself and be ready to commit to your journey.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, LaShun Teboh. Thank you so much for joining and sharing and empowering. I think that is such a noble that you are healing women at a time where a lot of times we're looking on social media and it's all this competitive and nonsense going back and forth. That you said, I am going to take this space. I'm going to use my life to heal women the best way that I can. And I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to have you in my life and that we have crossed paths. And I would ask anyone to go and follow LaShun, because once you're on your path, things and people are going to come to you. So right now you might be like, well, there's nobody in my area. I don't know where to look. Stay open to expansion and growth, and it will come. And you can start with LaShun. You can reach out to her personally. If you don't have anyone in your city, she may know someone in your city or somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. 6 degrees of separation. You can get what you need. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining us. You can always watch this video back on the YouTube channel, and we will re-air it as well. LaShun, have an amazing day. I know you got some yonis you need to steam.
Yeah,
any last minute words?
I would just like to say thank you, and thank you for letting me share Woman of Ankh Healing Center and Ankh Academy of Holistic Healing, because the more people who know about what's going on will be able to tap in and be able to receive some of this energy as well. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate you.
Yes, I love and appreciate you. LaShun is the bomb. And I can just see from the time I met you to now, just her transition in herself. Just when you like the picture that I put up, that picture is a beautiful picture, but looking at LaShun, I'm like, oh my God. So it is all possible. We have to release. I have been in her room crying tears, and we connected on a whole nother level on just speaking about life experiences and trauma. I'm telling you, y'all, the healing is out there for us. Do the work for yourself. Stay open to greatness and more and more and more and more possibilities and expansion. My name is Queen Aisha. This is LaShun Teboh. Thank you all for watching. Peace and blessings, and be well. Go vote and change your clocks back tomorrow.
I know.
Love you, love you, love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to Katanya for running the board and getting my lips together. She's like, you need color, please. Thank you. She in the background being bossy. I said to tell her she is.